It's no secret that sales of private label products continue to grow, but with that growth comes new challenges. As retailers expand their own brand assortments, they are on the constant lookout for suppliers to help develop new products, all the while keeping the flow of products steady. Welcome to Store Brand Spotlight. I'm Greg Sleeter, Executive Editor of Store Brands. Joining us today is Celeste Costa, Head of Sales and Marketing at Wyda Packaging USA. Celeste will discuss how private label growth has impacted Wyda, current trends in the marketplace, and where the conversation around sustainability stands currently. Celeste, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure, and this is kind of a unique thing for us to get a supplier perspective on what's happening in the marketplace, as your company has undergone a lot of growth in recent years. So it's another voice in this conversation that we continue to have on a daily basis. So we're looking forward to that conversation. To start with, just give us an update on the company and kind of what's happening with Wyda today.
Okay, well, thank you so much again for having us and for giving us this platform. Uh, so Vida, it's like you say Wyda, but the original name, as we say in Brazil, is Vida, and it is a family business that was founded about 35 years ago in Brazil, and we became like a national brand there, and we're very well known within the market, like market leaders there. And the founders noticed a possibility of expanding to other countries. So we started the globalization first to South Africa, then to Paraguay, and most recently here to the US. So it's been an exciting challenge for the business. It's our second year of being fully operational here in the US. And we are very excited with all the opportunities that we are seeing here in the market.
And just to be clear, the company is pronounced Vida.
Vida, yes.
Vida. Okay, terrific. So make sure we have that correct for the listeners out there. The company last year, as you know, opened a new facility in Charlotte, and that facility is already expanding. What is really driving that growth?
So it's demand, client demand. We did not anticipate as such a demand as fast as we were seeing, and that we can discuss that more during the time that we have together. But that is mainly due to opportunities here in the market and being a new player offering our products here. And so we started providing products to clients, and then it became like the space is small and then we have to grow and so forth. So we are expanding quite significantly.
When within that expansion, can you give us some examples of how is it a physical expansion? Is it just more business coming in? Give us a little detail on that growth.
So it's a little bit of everything, right? So we have to have more space, actually square footage. We already added about double of the space that we had last year as a new warehouse, and we are moving to the next door facility, which is kind of 1.5 times the size that we currently are, all combined. So that way we are able to have more like comfort level on organization and storage and the production facility as well. And obviously, with that, also growing on hiring, so adding more people, more management, more of everything.
Within the private label segment in recent years, we've seen a great deal of growth across numerous categories. Um, with this growth, how has this changed the conversations with retailers that your company's having in terms of how they're expanding their store brand assortments?
So in our case, we are seeing obviously like aluminum products are not like super innovative, right? So it's a category that it's been as a commodity for many years. And we are now seeing retailers wanting to develop different models, different um, sets, or different usage still for their clients. So these are conversations that we are having in ways to develop like different sizes or different formats, developing a more fun labeling and packaging. So it's been finding ways to differentiate within this category and um, making their clients becoming more loyal to the store brand.
Like when we think about like serving trays and chafing dishes and things like that, there's not a brand necessarily out there. So does that make it a little easier for the retailers to private label those products and maybe come to you and say, we need to do something a little different to separate ourselves and make the assortment stand out?
Yes, I think so. So they will, again, they will look into like probably like different sets, or different, or better quality. So it's been a lot of discussion in terms of like gauge and thickness of the pen itself. So if you go to like a very low cost uh, establishment, it will be like probably the quality will not be what is expected from like a high-end retailer. So in those situations, they are looking for better quality and a better customer experience.
Gotcha.
So yes, and then I would say also the packaging could be like better, better leads or better ways to display the product in use. So things that attract the buyer more.
And it's interesting you talk about packaging because I think we the royal we, if you will, have talked more about packaging and private label in recent years than maybe has ever been discussed. Where there was the old fashioned just white label where it just told you what the product was, but now there's so much focus on design and showing what's in the box or a way to use that product. And so packaging's really become more of a focus for retailers as a point of differentiation to the national brand products.
Yes, for sure. And if you go to like lower end prices, sometimes it's very common to see just like a barcode sticker attached to the bottom of the product versus when you go to a place where the products have a better value for the client, then they will definitely invest on having a different customer experience and using that product.
Retailers out there are of all shapes and sizes, from the biggest national chains to a lot of locals and a lot of regional grocers. The conversations that your company is having with all these different retailers, is there a big difference in what's being discussed based on their size?
Differently than in Brazil, where it's kind of like one portfolio of SKUs that fits to the entire market. Here in the US, it's very common to see a different set or a different count or a different format for depending on each channel you are focusing on. So clients are looking to having a way to differentiate that and asking for our help. So instead of having just one pen, one lead, let's look into having like a picnic set or barbecue set. So things that kind of add value and kind of bundle products together, and that way improving the usage of the product and trying to differentiate and not going back to the commodity qualification that we were talking about earlier.
Right, that's interesting, and I guess that's where packaging comes into as well. Because if you're showing a family using the product at a picnic, at a barbecue, it may inspire them, if you will, to say, "Hey, I could use." Maybe they didn't think about they were going to need that product for that specific event, and now it's inspired them. So that's interesting. When we talk about brand loyalty today, I think there's been a shift to value loyalty, and consumers are really focused on saving money, but not just buying the cheapest product, but getting value for their money. I think you touched on some of that with how you promote and present those products at retail. But are you seeing a big change with this value loyalty and the requirements for say things like packaging?
Yes, definitely. We are seeing retailers that specifically for the container category, they didn't have a program specifically for that type of product, and that was just one brand that was very um, present all over the place. And now we are seeing more and more retailers wanting to have their own line for foil containers and for roasters and so forth. For the aluminum rolls, it's more common. It's something that it's been there for a while, but definitely on the container side, I'm seeing more and more clients asking for it. And I was talking to a colleague the other day, also smaller retailers. So I just came back from the MJ show in Vegas, and there were many independent retailers that were also looking to having their own store brand versus carrying only the national brand. So I'm seeing that as a trend that probably will grow more and more.
With a greater focus on packaging, is that a component that Vida had to add in packaging design? Because maybe it was very basic in the past, but now you have more retailers looking for unique designs. Is that a component that the company has had to add in recent years?
So there's one that we cannot talk about yet because it's gonna be released. But there's definitely like sets, as I've been talking about. Uh, the way that the sets are presented makes a difference for the shelf presence of the products. So not only just like sticking a like a loose label, but having kind of a shrink wrap, like a nice placement of the label. How do you accommodate the leads? So like putting a good presentation that in the end is like a better product overall.
Right. Interesting. The conversations that you're hearing and that your company's having with retailers, are you noticing any patterns from these retailers regarding their roadmaps and private label for this year?
So what we are seeing is a desire for more efficiency, I would say. So in this category, up until recent years, there were mainly like overseas suppliers, and now with the new administration and more um, motivation to do business within the US, it's been like a desire from retailers to have a, if not like a close facility or a close partner, but closer than what they used to have. So this is a huge trend that we are seeing, and that comes as a consequence like faster delivery time, so or lead time. So they're expecting to have the products faster on their shelves. So those were a few trends that we are seeing.
Interesting. So looking more for domestic sources than looking for overseas sources then.
Correct. Yes.
Interesting. Not surprising, but it's interesting to hear that. So, um, has the growth you've seen in recent years, specifically in private label, has this allowed Vida to enter any new categories or at least expanding, looking at other categories to expand into?
Not yet, but because we are doing a steady growth, I'd say. So like growing within the structure that we have currently, but always looking to other industries or segments. So we have in our pipeline to also move to food service and distribution, but those are categories that demand different types of products that we currently don't carry. So we have that in our roadmap, but not for now.
Gotcha. Um, Sustainability is always a conversation I think that retailers have with folks in any product category, and aluminum is one of those materials, if you will, that is obviously highly recyclable and can be reused over and over again. How much of the conversation regarding sustainability is within the conversations you're having with retailers today?
So this is it's like some large retailers, to our surprise, are different from what we hear in the market. They're very looking to having sustainable practices or sustainable options for their store brands. So we are very happy to see that. Uh, and they are also looking to like how we manufacture and how we apply the sustainability through our chain. So that's, I think it's more rigorous from what it used to be, at least in the past. So yeah, we are seeing an increase of not concern of attention and focus on having a sustainable product.
Okay. And I guess is there any additional interest in the products because they are made from aluminum?
No, I don't think so. So we've seen some people that would need like a very bespoke development. They came to us that they traditionally would develop like a plastic container or I don't know, something that's not like a disposable container, and they would like to try to develop on aluminum. But in our case, we could not pursue that avenue, not yet, because we have to focus on what we do.
Right. Interesting. And when you look at the rest of 2026, what's the company's outlook?
So we are very optimistic with the opportunities and the conversations that we are having. If some come into fruition, we will have to probably triple the size of the operation here. So we are very excited. And with that, obviously, coming with adding more jobs and growing our structure. So we are looking very forward to 2026. And I think for differently from 2025, where there was so much uncertainties, now we know what the scenario looks like, what's at play. So I think it's going to be a good year for everyone.